Welcome, Gunrunner.
Hello everybody, Lair here again. I'm back with another movie review for you all. Two in quick succession. I did World 1 fairly recently. Just followed it up with my review of Bedrooms to Billions, which I posted previously to this one. And I thought that as soon as I'd mentioned this one in the Bedrooms to Billions video, I would do this one next. So this one, which I have running on the laptop behind me, hopefully you can't see it too well because I don't want to get told off for doing it, is Video Games the Movie. Now, for those who don't know, this was an American-made film. It was a professional, like Hollywood kind of made movie. It didn't have it wasn't a Kickstarter like the World 1 was, and Bedrooms to Billions, the sort of more amateur production. This one, was made by some quite big names, and behind it was the main man behind it, who actually came up with the whole concept and produced it and directed it and everything, was Zach Braf, who anyone who's a fan of Scrubs, like myself, will know him very, very well. And he was behind the whole concept of it, and the person narrating it all the way through is another big name in Sean Astin, who many will know from the Lord of the Rings films. There's a lot of familiar people involved in this movie. I believe Seth Rogen was involved in it in some way as well, from what I remember. But again, it's like the other two. It does feature quite a few industry legends in there. There is a few people like David Crane, Nolan Bushnell, to mention a couple of names in there. There's lots of people sort of from media involved in gaming as well, and there's lots of chat with sort of actual fans. There actually has Al Alcorn on the screen behind me there, Atari engineer. But there's also a lot of talk with sort of more people who are more fans of video gaming as well. So it's kind of that element in there as well. So it's kind of a mix of different people that they speak to in the film. But the film kind of tries to encompass video games as a whole, from when the industry started, and tries to even then go into the future and predict what's going to happen from now. So it does that, and it kind of does it as a timeline. But this is actually the first area that this film falls down, because it appears to be following timeline, and you'll see quite often that on the screen actually a timeline even comes up, but then it kind of jumps back and forth on this timeline. It doesn't seem to follow a set path. It also seems to miss out big chunks of this timeline as well. It seems to ignore whole aspects of the video game industry, whole times, things that happened. It's just a little bit confused, and it seems like there probably was a structure at some point, but actually during the filming process they kind of lost what that structure was. And the next thing that's wrong with it is that it doesn't really tell you anything over that. I'd say it jumps back and forth, has odd little comments from people, not long ones like you get in Bedrooms to Billions and World 1. You've got none of these long monologues of people telling you about this time and that time. It's more just comments, like snap comments, like, yeah, that was a cool time, I did this, it was great. That kind of like very short, sharp comments, really, from different people. Or I loved that game, even from like sort of the fan kind of things. But it's really strange what they chose to include and what they didn't choose to include. And even like with the comments, some of the comments and stuff that they've put in there, you just think, well, I don't see the point of that. And there's others that you see and you think, well, I want them to expand on that more, and that's quite frustrating that they haven't. So yeah, that's I'm struggling here to actually sort of understand it as I'm even talking about it, talking about this movie. It kind of baffled me as I was watching it, and again, I've got lots of things popping into my head about things that were wrong with it, which is pretty bad, and I think probably already tells you what kind of score I'm going to be giving this film at the end. Now, in terms of, again, going back to the covering different elements of the scene, it kind of goes early years, then goes quite heavily into Nintendo, and then kind of brushes over things a little bit. There's a bit about Mega Drive or Genesis, as they call it, not a great deal. Kind of flicks into the modern age with Xbox and PS3 and that kind of thing, and then kind of starts babbling on about what's going to happen in the future, which is all absolute pure speculation about what they think is going to happen, and that takes up far too much of the movie. I spend far too much of the time talking about what they think might happen or what could happen, rather than actually what has happened. And if you sort of read the early sort of synopsis for the film and what they were saying it was going to be, it doesn't really match what it actually is. It does seem like it was going to be a bit more about the history of video games, but having that more light-hearted approach as you would expect from the people who are involved. Like Zach Braf, who says himself he's very much a fan of video games, and that's why he wanted to make this movie. But it's just all over the place. It just doesn't know what it wants to be. Sorry, excuse my dogs. They're being an absolute pain today. They're barking at anything and everything, and I have no idea why, and it's driving me crazy. But yeah, it just doesn't know what it wants to be. It doesn't know if it wants to be a serious movie. It doesn't know if it wants to be a light-hearted movie. It doesn't know if it wants to be a documentary. It just doesn't know what it wants to be. Doesn't know where it's going most of the time. Jumping all over the place. I almost feel sorry for some of the people who have appeared in it, like David Crane that's there, because they don't really focus on anything that he actually did. There's just lots of things in it that just I don't know, don't work. And I'm actually struggling to think of something that does work. I mean, I suppose it's quite well made. It has some quite high production values, and that's good. And there's plenty of sort of music in there and that kind of thing. But I often think that they spend too much time with the music and fancy graphics when they could be talking about other stuff. And again, that's another fault with the film. And I don't know. I just really can't think of much positive about it, because I just think it was a horrible, horrible movie. It just didn't do anything that it could have done, and just leaves you thinking, what was the point in that when you finish watching it? And that's not how I want to feel when I've finished watching a movie about my favourite hobby. That's pretty much it, really. I don't want to waffle on forever and just go on on mad rants about how awful this film is, but it is just terrible. I mean, I'm really even tempted to give it a 1 out of 10. It's that bad. I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10, I think. But I am being kind. I think. I just think there's just really nothing positive I can say about it. I suppose Americans might enjoy it more than us Brits, because it does focus more on the American market, as these things often do. There really is nothing in there about what we did in this country and in the rest of Europe. So you might get a little bit more enjoyment out of it of that. But even if you're a fan of Zach Braf, you're not going to enjoy this movie. It's that crap. So yeah, give it a miss. Don't bother. Don't even I watched it on Netflix, so it didn't cost me any money. So it's on there if you do want to watch it. So you're not going to have to pay to watch it if you've got Netflix. So by all means, give it a watch, but don't expect anything good from it. So I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope it was beneficial to you. I've got a few more of these coming, a few more documentary film type reviews that I want to do, and I've got lots of other stuff coming up. I want to do some more Homebrew Heroes videos, some more Chiptune Challenge, and I'll probably upload some more Atari 8-bit and Lynx music soon as well. So I've got lots of stuff going on, lots of stuff coming up. So keep an eye on my channel. I hope you enjoy my videos. If there's, again, as always, if there's anything you particularly want to see, let me know. Either stick something in the comments below, message me on Twitter @RetroLaird, grab me one of the many Facebook groups I'm on, or any of the forums, and I will see you all soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
My first console I remember playing was the Atari 2600. I remember saying, like, wow, look at the graphics.
I never thought it would amount to anything. He informs us they want to pay us $30 million. It was like, what?
video games vastly differ from every other kind of media.
A good video game is probably the hardest thing to make.
The whole point of a game was literally shooting pixelated aliens that were falling out of the sky. Nowadays, not only do we know why those aliens are falling out of the sky, we know the names of their moms, and we know we have to destroy all of them.
They've evolved into truly global experiences. It's a borderline religious experience.
And just something about blowing your friend in half, nothing is more satisfying.
I have lifelong friends that I've met just playing together online.
It's the ultimate example of art and science working together.
It's making a movie times 1,000.
Back in the early days, we really did look forward to a day where video games would be interactive movies.
Video games in the next 30 to 40 years are going to be unimaginable, where you can live the dream that you've always wanted to live.